So I'd like everybody to offer prayers for his recovery. It's serious but curable, but it's no fun to go through the treatment. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a real wake-up call when someone close to you has a disease like this, and you realize this material world is definitely temporary for us. It's temporary, but we these material bodies are destined for the same destination. So we have to be really fixed on our mission, which is to become pure lovers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai. My brother has cancer, and he was just recently diagnosed. He's pretty sick. It's not terminal, but it's serious. So, anyway. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Hari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Vallabha Girivardhari, Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yasoda Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parvikacharya, Saterasada, Shri Srimad Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi, all glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So we're reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 73, text number 19. Lord Sri Krishna blesses the kings that have been freed from bondage. Jishya Vyavasitam Bhupa Bhavanta Rita Bhashina Shri Aishvarya Madanaham Pashya Umadakam Nirnam Dishya Vyavasitam Bhupa Bhavanta Rita Bhashina Shri Aishvarya Madanaham Pashya Unmadakam Nirnam Dishya Vyavasitam Bhupa Bhavanta Rita Bhashina Shri Aishvarya Madanaham Pashya Udmadakam Nirnam Dishya Vyavasitam Bhupa Bhavanta Rita Bhashina Riya Vaisharya Madan Mohan Pashya Unmadakam Nirnam Nishya Vavasitam Budva Bhavanta Rita Bhashina Shri Aishvarya Nandarham Pasya Unmadakam Nirnam Dishya Vyavasitam Budva Bhavanda Rita Bhashina Shri Aishvarya Madannaham Pasya Unmadakam Nirnam Dishya Vyavasitam Budva Bhavanda Rita Bhashina Shri Aishvarya Mohan Pasya Madanakam Nirnam Dishya fortunate Vyavasitam your resolve Bhupa O kings Bhavanta you Rita truthfully Bhashina speaking Shri of opulence Aishvarya and power Mada due to the intoxication Unnaham lack of restraint Pashe I see Udmadakam maddening Nirnam for human beings. Translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Fortunately, this is Krishna speaking to the kings, fortunately you have come to the proper conclusion, my dear kings, and what you have spoken is true. I can see that human beings lack of self-restraint, which arises from their intoxication with opulence and power, simply leads to madness. Please repeat. Fortunately, you have come to the proper conclusion, my dear kings, and what you have spoken is true. I can see that human beings' lack of self-restraint, which arises from their intoxication with opulence and power, simply leads to madness, which we can see all around us. There is no purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. There are two short tikas by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami. Short but pointed. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, and this is taking up like Krishna speaking, that you have decided to take up bhakti, which is a necessity, is truly fortunate. For I see the madness and bondage of kings. From wealth comes the concept of power. Wealth is Shri and power Aishvarya. From Aishvarya comes pride, Ada, and from pride comes bondage, Unnaham. Pashe is used for Pashyami. Jiva Goswami writes, praising them to make their bhakti strong. He agrees with what they stated. Your words are true because of wealth. Shri and Aishvarya both mean wealth and power. Shri Aishvarya is used instead of Shri Yaishvarya. This is like Triyambaka instead of Trayambaka. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirasesa Shunyavadi Prashachadesh Turni Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I can't remember the exact chapter, but it's part of the Rasa Leela chapters. There's a chapter where Krishna vanishes and the gopis are left looking for him everywhere, and they actually become mad, crazy for Krishna. And they're acting out as pastimes, and they're chanting prayers, and this is called unmada, or madness. It's desirable in the spiritual world. We want to become mad in love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But madness in the material world, the whole nother ball of wax. It's a big problem, because the madness in the material world, rather than linking us with love of Krishna, drags us into the greater and greater illusion. And Krishna here is praising these kings, because he described that these kings have understood that human beings' lack of self-restraint arises from their intoxication with opulence and wealth. And actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that it's very fortunate you've taken up bhakti, which is a necessity, because you've just come from the bondage of being a king, which is what? Sri Aishvarya, opulence, or beauty, wealth, and beauty, Sri, and opulence. So everyone in this material world is striving for Sri Aishvarya, as it says here in this verse. Sri Aishvarya Madan Naham. And if you read the whole line there, it's Sri of opulence, Aishvarya and power, Mada, due to the intoxication, lack of restraint. There's lack of restraint. Think about that. People are doing everything they can to get more beauty, more power, more wealth, more sex, more intoxication, whatever that is. They want more and more and more. We've turned up the dial so high in this world. It's loud, it's bright, and it is total illusion. Total illusion. And actually, it becomes delusion. Delusion means that even within the illusion, you're illusioned. So, they do this. You go, they have these. I mean, you can't even imagine, but I've read about it, that even now sports, has become. You go to like an arena, and they've got the sound turned up so high, it's like 100 decibels the whole time, and just flashing lights and all this stuff, and the senses are just bombarded. In that kind of state, it's impossible to think of anything except your senses and your mind and your body. And so this is the kings. They were in this situation. And then all of a sudden, gone, and they're in a prison, stripped of their wealth and their power and their opulence. And in that moment of desperation, they become interested in changing the way they think and live. They've seen, this isn't so good, because now I see, here's the flip side of wealth and power. It's suffering, poverty, misery, bondage, and for them, the threat of ever-present death, because any moment, Jarasandha might kill us. So, we can turn to Bhagavad Gita for some basic verses about this problem in the material world. But it's important to understand that these kings have actually made the transition from total illusion. And by the grace of Krishna, it's really by his grace, because he's appeared before them, they become pure devotees. I mean, they turn towards Krishna, and Krishna, being in the vicinity, good timing, came there and freed them. So they see Krishna, and he's freed them. And then Krishna, he praises them to make their bhakti strong. Krishna even comes to the point where he says, "You've done a great job." And they feel good. We've done a great job. And Krishna does this intentionally to make sure that they've got strong bhakti for him. Because it's this strong bhakti for Krishna is the only way that we can become lifted out of the mire that we find ourselves in this material world. You know, there's so many yoga processes. Yoga means to link with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But these yoga processes in this age can't be done. And even if they could be done, they are so much trouble. They aren't really worth doing, because Krishna has provided, Lord Chaitanya has provided, a straight path back to Godhead through the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But let's look at Bhagavad Gita, where it talks about these issues that we have in this material world. And the first one is the section from chapter 2, verses 62 and 63, or is it 61 and 62? And where 62 and 63, where Krishna says, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises, lust and anger. And Prabhupada writes, one who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. What else is there to do? You got senses, they're material senses, a material mind, and you're in a material world. What's going to happen? Look, hear, see, touch, taste, smell, and it's all inflaming material desires. Prabhupada writes, the senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. It's certain. These kings, certain. They were going to become Sri Aishvarya. For us, we're not such big kings, but, you know, Sri Aishvarya comes in little packages also. And today it comes in the form of machines and technology and all sorts of things that make us almost like demigods. That's what these big tech people think. Actually, in the 1980s, there was a class of investors who were making lots of money, and they dubbed themselves the lords of the universe. What kind of lords are here on this world? The lords of the universe? Not even the lords of their body. But because of intense pride, they'll actually say that about themselves. Next verse. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So we in the material world are swimming around in a material world full of all sorts of enticements. But it's like we're swimming around in, you know, a flood of dirty, filthy, rotten things, and that's all we have, we think. Because in the material world, there is, as we said, you can get all the material things you want, but they're all temporary. And in the case of the kings, they were just stripped away very, very quickly. And actually, it's stated sometimes. I mean, it's stated in the Shastra that if Krishna really, really favors a devotee, that devotee will be stripped of attachments that keep the devotee from becoming serious about Krishna consciousness. And even in our case, coming to Krishna consciousness, there's 4 types of pious people come to Krishna consciousness. Those who are in need of wealth, or those who are in need of some sort of relief from suffering in the material world, those who are inquisitive, and some few who are actually wise. But the 3 of the 4 are coming for material reasons. And those material reasons are enough to get one into the door of bhakti. But Prabhupada says in the purports, unless one advances past this sort of motivated Krishna consciousness, one won't make advancement. He says actually one will fall down. But the kings have actually understood that their life was going to lead them into a very bad place. And in connection with these verses of the 2nd chapter, in the 16th chapter, verse number 21, Krishna really nails this here. He says, there are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. And Prabhupada describes in the purport, very short purport, the beginning of demoniac life is described here. One tries to satisfy his lust, and when he cannot, anger and greed arise. A sane man does not want to glide down to the species of demoniac life. A sane man who does not want to glide down into the species of demoniac life must try to give up these 3 enemies, which can kill the self to such an extent that there will be no possibility of liberation from this material entanglement. The next verse, which I was thinking about also including today, speaks about where Krishna gives examples of persons who are, for one reason or another, lust, anger, and greed trap them and cause them to become, have a disastrous situation. But I decided I didn't really want to talk about them, but I did want to talk about surrender and the problems with lust, anger, and greed. I was trying to think of who would be a good example. And in research, I came up with a really good example. It's Indra. Now, we think of Indra as a kind of a fixed personality, but actually Indra is not his name. Indra is his position, king. I mean, Indra means king or lord of the heavens. And there are 14 Indras in every day of Brahma. Day of Brahma is 4,320,000,000 years. It's a long time. I won't even get to the scientists, when they talk about the age of the universe, I mean, they think it's 15 billion years old, which would be like, 3 or 4 days of Brahma. So anyway, 1 day of Brahma, really long. In that day of Brahma, there are 14 Indras. The Indras live 310 million years, roughly. It's a long time. But by Brahma's time, there's a new Indra every 2 hours. So you got this Indra bothering you for 2 hours, and after 2 hours, you're going to get another Indra you have to deal with. It's like, servants, one after another. So the present Indra is Purandara. The next Indra is going to be Bali Maharaj, so it's going to be a whole different administration, because Bali Maharaj is a pure devotee. Purandara, on the other hand, is not. He's a devotee, but he's a Sakama devotee. And we should understand that, and we were reading a purport the other day, actually yesterday in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that there are 3 kinds of devotees. There's the devotee like Indra, who is a Sakama devotee, a devotee who has material desires, and he's worshiping the Lord to fulfill those material desires. He's pious, he's faithful, but his faith is based upon, I want to be rich. I want, bogaishvara, I want opulence and enjoyment. And I know I have to get it from you, dear Lord. Please give it to me, and I agree. I'm going to do a good job at whatever I do. So that's that. Then there's pure devotees, and then in the middle there are devotees who are in the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, and there are different levels of Vaidhi Bhakti, but they're aspiring to come from Sakama to pure to Shuddha Bhakti. So we're hopefully in that middle class, and we're not just Sakama devotees. But the fact is that we're coming from a Sakama background. I mean, everybody comes from that. Oh God, please give me this, and you fill in the blank, something material. And that's common. And Prabhupada said it's good. Rather than the atheist who thinks that I'll just, get it through my technology. My god brother, Kavi Chandra Maharaj, has preached in Japan for years, and I've mentioned this before, that it's very hard to preach in Japan because they're really into, they're into modern life with all the gadgets and gizmos. And, he would preach Krishna consciousness, and he said one of the common responses was, well, we used to have to rely on religion before we had all this technology, but now we don't need to rely on religion. We can get everything we want through our own means. Forget the gods and this or that. We don't need them anymore. We can do it ourselves. So that's the real common atheist. But Indra or the Sakama devotees aren't there. That's not their thing. However, this Indra, Purandara, now the name Indra, of this Indra means one who can destroy forts, the destroyer, the fighter. And it's described that this particular Indra is really enamored with his Vajra weapon. He likes to blast things and destroy things. I mean, he's really in the mode of passion. And it's described that he is, although he's really a servant and he wants to be a good devotee, he's plagued by lust and anger and insecurity. He's really insecure. Well, now lust, he's got 1,000 eyes on his body. I won't get into the story, but there's so many stories of Indra having a little trouble with his desire for sex life. And lust also goes into other things too. I mean, you can be lusty for power and greed, that sort of thing. So he's got a lust issue. He's definitely got anger issues too. Why didn't I get my share of that sacrifice? I'm going to blast those devotees who are worshiping. Who is this? A little boy? Well, I mean, he's only on duty for 2 hours of a day of Brahma. And so during his 2 hours, he can really mess up. Of course, for him, it's a long life. But the fact is that he, in his ignorance, couldn't understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so he thinks that these inhabitants of Braj are simply disobedient. And he has got an anger issue. He's really angry. I want my stuff. I didn't get it. And he's got the power. He's got this, he's got clouds and weapons. And this particular Indra, this is his mood. So he attacks Vrindavan with all his might and is defeated because Krishna lifts Govardhan Hill, and he also has his chakra to cut down all the water. So Indra, his anger is just for naught. And he's also really insecure. Of course, that goes with his anger. As we know, when Prithu Maharaj was doing Ashvamedha horse sacrifices, he had done 99, and to become Indra, one of the qualifications is you do 100 horse sacrifices. Well, Indra had done 100, and he's thinking, who's this? He's got 99. One more, and he may take over. So then he does all sorts of stuff, and a lot of, basically he introduces a whole class of irreligious brahmanas into the world, as part of his campaign to prevent the 100th horse sacrifice. And finally, Brahma comes in and says to, Prithu Maharaj, look, he's really envious, he's really insecure. Let him be, and just take the 99. And so, of course, Prithu Maharaj he's a Shaktavesh avatar. So he's far beyond Indra. Now, given all this, you might say, who is this? Is he a demon? Well, he's not. And in fact, when he understands that he's messed up, he's very contrite, and he can offer very, very heartfelt prayers. And so these are kind of I think of like the prayers of the conditioned soul, the prayers of that person who wants to be a devotee, knows he should be a devotee, but he's really having trouble being a devotee. And for us, of course, that trouble comes within the context of it. We want to become pure. So we're working towards that. In Indra's case, he's not even up to that platform, but he's a devotee. So we want to hear from Indra's, because he has some wonderful prayers that he offers, and we can actually take to heart these prayers ourselves because of how strong they are. And these are the prayers he offered to Krishna after the whole Govardhan Hill incident. In fact, he's like a little worried. He brings Sarabi cow along because Krishna likes Sarabi cows, and he's thinking maybe, because Sarabi's here, Krishna won't just blast me. He might hear me and be merciful. So Indra comes on the scene. And here are his prayers. And the prayers are good for us to meditate upon. And they're also good for us to understand that even a conditioned soul who wants to be a devotee can have this mood. This is the mood the kings had. They became pure devotees because they saw Krishna. But before that, this was their mood. And they had a couple short prayers that are like this. So here's Indra. Chapter 27, 10th canto, 4th verse. I may not read all of them because there's a couple important ones. But the first one. Your transcendental form, a manifestation of pure goodness, is undisturbed by change, shining with knowledge, and devoid of passion and ignorance. In you does not exist the mighty flow of the modes of material nature, which is based on illusion and ignorance. How then could there exist in you the symptoms of an ignorant person, such as greed, lust, anger, and envy, like I've got, which are produced by one's previous involvement in material existence and which cause one to become further entangled in material existence? And yet, as a Supreme Lord, you impose punishment to protect religious principles and to curb down the wicked. He's actually saying, you're punishing me because it's actually curbing down your religion. You are the father and spiritual master of this entire universe and also its supreme controller. You are insurmountable time, imposing punishment upon the sinful for their own benefit. Indeed, in your various incarnations selected by your own free will, you act decisively to remove the false pride of those who presume themselves masters of this world. Even fools like me, who proudly think themselves universal lords, quickly give up their conceit and directly take to the path of spiritually progressive when they see you are fearless even in the face of time. Thus, you punish the mischievous only to instruct them. And here it's said in the purport, history is filled with examples of of supreme authority, of the supreme authority breaking the conceit of foolish men. Modern world leaders proudly fight one another, placing the common people in unprecedented jeopardy. Similarly, Indra, proud of his apparent illustrious position, dared to threaten the lives of the innocent residents of Vrindavan with terrible weapons until his arrogance was curbed by the dynamic response of the Supreme Lord. Remember that the dynamic response of the Supreme Lord, which seems sometimes to be a little harsh, is just there for our help. Nothing Krishna does in this world is to harm anyone, especially devotees, and even a little pain is for us to become purified. Let's go on to the prayers here. Engrossed in pride over my ruling power, ignorant of your majesty, I offended you. O Lord, may you forgive me. My intelligence was bewildered, but let my consciousness never again become so impure. This is something we could actually pray. Please, Krishna, I'm ignorant, and I've offended you. Please forgive me. Please, my intelligence has been bewildered, but let my consciousness never again become so impure. And Prabhupada says it's interesting purport here. In fact, this is only part of the purport. In fact, despite Indra's humility in this case, his heart was not completely purified. Later on in this canto 10, we find that when Lord Indra once took a parijata flower from, when Lord Krishna once took a parijata flower from Indra's kingdom, poor Indra again reacted violently against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, we should aspire to go back to our eternal home in the kingdom of Krishna and should not become entangled in the imperfect life of the material gods. So we want to go back. That's our goal. Indra's goal is just to say, I got 310 million years to enjoy, and I'm going to enjoy it. So that's his goal. So therefore, he keeps in purity. Human life is a boon because it's short, and we have an opportunity to surrender without becoming totally bewildered by some sort of power and pride in this world. And Indra continues, you descend into this world, O transcendent Lord, to destroy the warlords who burden the earth and create many terrible disturbances. O Lord, you simultaneously act for the welfare of those who faithfully serve you, serve your lotus feet. Obeisance is unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the great soul, who are all-pervading and who reside in the hearts of all. My obeisance is unto you, Krishna, the chief of the Yadu dynasty. What prayers! Great prayers. We should think of these prayers ourselves, how we could pray. Unto him who assumes transcendental bodies according to the desires of his devotees, unto him whose form itself is pure consciousness, unto him who is everything, who is the seed of everything, and who is the soul of all creatures, I offer my obeisances. My dear Lord, when my sacrifice was disrupted, I became fiercely angry because of false pride. Thus I tried to destroy your cowherd community with severe rain and wind. O Lord, you have shown mercy to me by shattering my false pride and defeating my attempt to punish Vrindavan. To you, the Supreme Lord, spiritual master and supreme soul, I have now come for shelter. We need to take shelter of Krishna. And in this age, we're so fortunate because Lord Chaitanya isn't just introducing us to the Lord who's all-powerful and all, mighty, and, we bow down before him, because we should, but he's introducing us to the boy who dances in Vrindavan with Radharani, to the boy who plays with his friends, just having a fun time, to that little boy who causes vexation to his mother Yashoda, but she loves it, to that supreme sweet personality who is that Lord on our altar, Sri Sri Radha Golokananda. We're being introduced to that Krishna. Indra's speaking nicely, and we can take up these prayers in heart. But in the end, the real prayer we have is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These three names, Hare, Rama, Krishna. As we chant the Maha Mantra, we should be thinking and praying, oh, Radha, Hare, please allow me to serve Krishna, who is the source of all pleasure, Rama. And that's real pleasure. Real pleasure is in serving Krishna eternally, and that opportunity is given to us by our Guru Dev, by Srila Prabhupada. And he's handing it to us. And we can read about these other personalities in the Bhagavatam, learn from them both ways, learn from their example positive, and learn from their example negative. You see that person, see what they're doing, don't do it. Don't be like Indra. Be like Prahlad, surrendered to Krishna. So, stop that. Class has gone a little past. There's the 7:15 train to Goloka.
Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavanam Kalindi Van Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Keshigata Bansi Vata Dvada Sakanan Keshigata Bansi Sakahan Jaha Sab Leela Kailo Shri Nandanandan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Shri Nanda Jashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shri Jana Jashoda Jaya Gopagan Shri Damadi Jaya Jaya Denu Vastagan Shri Damadi Denu Vastagan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Bolo Jai Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Jai Vrishabhanu Jai Kirtida Sundari Jai Vrishabhanu Kirtida Sundari Jai Purnamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Jai Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Jai Jai Gopeshwara Vrindavana Ma Jai 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 Krishna Shakha Bhatu Dvijara Jai Jai Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Rama Ghat Jaya Rohani Nandan Jai Rama Ghat Jaya Jai Jai Vrindavasi Jani Jata Jan Jai Jai Vrindavasi Jata Jan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Bolo Jai Jai Dvija Patni Jai Naga Kanyagan Jai Jai Naga Bhakti Teja Hara Pailo Govinda Charan Bhakti Teja Govinda Charan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Sham Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Radha Sham जय जय रस लीला सर्व मनोरम जय बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय जय चल रसा सर्व रस सार जय जय रसा सर्व रस सार पर किया भावे जहाँ भजते प्रचार प्रचार बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो श्री जानव पद पद्मा कोरिया समरण श्री जानव पद दीन कृष्ण दासे कोई राम संकीर्तन तन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो श्री ब्रजधाम महिमा की जय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि बोल श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय All glories to Radhakund and the divine forest of Vrindavan. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavan, Shri Govinda, Trinath and Madan Mohan. All glories to Shamkund, Radhakund, Govardhan Hill and the Yamuna river Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan. All glories to Keshighat and Vansighat tree and the 12 forests of Vraja. All these places the son of Manda Shri Krishna performed all his pastimes. All glories to Krishna divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys headed by Sri Dama. All glories to the cows and calves of Vraja. All glories to Radha's father and mother, Vishmanu and the beautiful Kritida. All glories to Puranmashri, the mother of Sandipani Muni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Braja. All glories to Gopeshwar Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Shri Ramnath and Madhu Mangala. All glories to Ram Ghat, where Lord Balram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Balram, son of Rohani. All glories to all of the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kali, serpent. To noble devotion, they obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Shri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Krishna's pastimes. All glories to the mellows of the conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas, and is propagated in Vraja by Shri Krishna in the form of the divine Parikya Bhav, remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort Shri Janava Devi. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtan of Holy Dham. Shri Holy Dham ki jai, Braj Dham ki jai, Gaur Pranandi. Cheto Darpan Marjanam Bhavadavagni
Nirvapanam Shreya Chandrika Vitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Charorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Nadanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanurja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadashu Daraya Vadanam Gad Gadudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadamritam Anastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatava Vidadatu Lampato Mat Prananatas Tusa Evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place